Good day, I'm Ikslorin, and just like last week, I actually want to just relax and have some fun. Mainly just because I have been doing so many things, so that I haven't been able to look at this fatigue warrior that I'm working on. This is just my first draft. I haven't even played with this deck yet, but I'm thinking this should work, at least after you have been tinkering with it a little. So, after that is over, let's just look at actually what we are going to play this week. We want to have fun, so we're going to play a gimmick deck, of course, and this is TotalBiscuit's, I would call it counterspell deck. The idea behind this deck is really simple. Just make the life of the spellcaster on the other side of the table as miserable as humanly possible. We're going to do that with board clear as flame cannon, frostbolt, fireballs, polymorphs, and a flame strike. And then we're also going to try and play all sorts of minions that he cannot touch, such like the fairy dragon, the arcane nullifier, and the spectral knight. And if that wasn't enough, just against someone with a lot of spells, we're going to have some minions being buffed by his spells with all these Trogs. Of course also Troxor the Earthinator, because he's just really interesting. Actually, he is the one legendary, together with Malorn, that actually catched my attention. But just when all these cards were revealed. So I am actually looking very much forward to playing with this legendary. On top of that, we also have, what have I skipped over? Archmage Antonidas, obviously. Because, well, the best way to kill your opponent is with infinite amounts of fireballs. So, yeah. So, yeah, of course, sorry, that's one thing I forgot. These Trogs actually work in some way like a spell taunt, which actually I think would be somewhat of a really cool gimmick. Not gimmick, but a mechanic in Hearthstone for maybe some other expansion. But still, if he should be actually playing spells anyway, either to clear out these things or trying to kill me, then we have these counter spells and also the spellbenders, which is also somewhat of a counter spell against minions at least. Also, the spellbender is just fun against something like a paladin or anything that actually just buffs their own stuff. So yeah, with this deck, that's really it. Except for the Pyroblast that I have skipped, just to kill your opponent, obviously. Because there's, if you want to, either you can try and kill everything with infinite fireballs, or you can have even more style and just kill him with a Pyroblast. But then card draw, one last thing that I have forgotten in this deck that I have here. These changes that have been done to this is because are mainly by day 9. Also one minor change by me, just with this Chasm Mystic, because a secret is also a spell. So I thought that fits the theme. Thank you. Now I can say something again. For some weird reason I couldn't say that sentence, but still. All the changes are mainly done by day 9, as he tried to play this deck too on day 9 Dectacular. Also, so he added some Frostbolts and another Flame Strike, I think. So, yeah. This is probably not going to get us any wins, even though I have actually played this with 2 games with this and actually won one of them. So it's right now actually a 50% win rate. So let's see if we can get some more wins with this. I mean, why not? I mean, the meta is really should not be favoring this deck. I mean, you are mainly going to play against something very aggro and not something with a lot of spells. So, yeah, except if the meta slows down a hell of a lot, something like all things are pretty much just control, then this deck is probably not going to be that entertaining. But we are at the ranks 18, so hopefully we can be playing against some fun stuff anyway. And we're going to play against something that seems like a very old-fashioned Zulok. So I think just a Fairy Dragon against that, because he cannot Mortal Coil it. Because the old-fashioned Zuloks have Mortal Coils. I'm pretty sure Void Walkers are removed right now from... yeah, I'm pretty sure they are removed now from the standard Zulok from the today's meta. Yeah. Seems very like this thing that we all know. This doesn't seem like that it doesn't seem that different, really. And Fire Blast to the face. Cool. So it's actually really lucky that we got the Arcane Nullifier from the Mulligan. Because, well, it's a 2-5 taunt. It will kill most of the stuff that he has. At least these 2-1-1s, and probably also that Harvest Golem somewhat. At least whenever we get that Harvest Golem itself killed. Which seems to be more than fine to do it this way. We actually just have to stay alive. Though this is probably the worst matchup against this deck. Even though this is a Gimmick deck, so you shouldn't probably overanalyze it like this. I mean, what I'm trying to say is just that this deck has no spells in it, as you can see. So, because of that, there's surely not going to be... It's surely not going to be that easy to actually win against it. Because it just will outtrade you. Because that is what a Zulok does. Yeah. Well, if we can... Just a few more turns and we can Flame Strike the hell out of this guy, but... I think at that point I'm probably dead. Hey, think. Yeah, this is really the Zulok from the very first one, actually. This is just the very first Zulok. Maybe the one that just when Nax started. Maybe. We could Fire Blast in here. We move 1 damage. That is not really useful. I think we would rather want him to just trade. Since he is having the Argent Squire, I'm thinking that he's more concerned about board control than actually just killing me. Even though that I'm down at 17 and he's at 27, he's still going to be... He seems to be very aggro control-y. Or not. Damn. That was one misplay. He should have had thrown the 2-1 in first, and then the 3-1, since this one would slide over. Yep, 1 turn away from a Flame Strike, and probably also 1 turn away from our death. But yeah, let's just go for all the spells, and let's hope that we can go for some mind games. Maybe this is some kind of ice block. Maybe this is a mirror entity. He will probably try and play around them. Or just kill us, really. I mean, we are dead, aren't we? Yes, he has... No, even the Flame Strike won't save us here. Even the Flame Strike won't save us here. And with that, yeah, there you go. Goodbye. Let's just get out of here as fast as possible, and let's get as fast as possible to 22, which seems to be what we're doing. So, let's see if we can lose some more, and hopefully play against something that is control, which is because those matchups are actually hilarious. Because this deck is going to try and troll them as much as possible, which I would really like to show you, because that one game where I won was really just the most perfect example of them all. It was really just a perfect game. Sadly, I just didn't record it. And luckily, we're against the priest too. Why do I say that? Because that other game that I was just talking about was also against the priest. And we have pretty much a perfect hand, really. Turn 1 Fairy Dragon, turn 2 Frostbolt, and then a turn 3 Arcane Intellect. And until then, we should have been able to just draw into something. Even if he doesn't play anything, we can just play another Fairy Dragon. This is going perfectly, as it's just going right to the plan, as it should be. A Mech Priest. That is interesting. Well, either way, he's going to kill the Fairy Dragon. So if we Frostbolt in here, and then he will just trade. That is not the best trade we can do. This is better. Because we just keep the Frostbolt. A hero power is always better than a card, so... Yeah. That seems fine. Turn 3 he can play the 3-4, but we have the Flame Cannon for that. Shadow Boxer. Interesting. Well, the Flame Cannon is still the plan here, I'd say. I can't see any reason why you wouldn't go for that. Could also, we could go for an Arcane Intellect and then just wait for the next turn. Then a Frostbolt and Flame Cannon next turn again. But he will maybe play more than one thing. So because of that, I think that we will just do this. Then we have that Shadow Box out of the way immediately. Also turn 4 is when he can play that... Yeah, where he can play the one that is buffed by Max. So it was probably a good idea. This will trade nicely into a Burly Walkjaw. Yeah. Except if he has something like Shadow Word Pain, then it would have been really, really good. Well, damn. He could heal my face for the last amount of mana. Please do that. Oh well, not. So let's give him a card, I think. We could also go for this one and hope for some kind of board removal. Or removal. Could also go for this and the Fairy Dragon. Seems better to me. Because he cannot use any spells on the Fairy Dragon, so he has to trade in some way. Or he would probably actually just go in for the face with this. Then I can Fire Blast it and then trade afterwards. And it would still be alive. And there's another Loot Hoarder, so I should probably think about killing that instead. Okay, so he's going to trade. That is a good thing. That is not such a good thing. That is possibly a bad thing. That is pretty much the same. Okay, that was a horrible time for us. Crap. Well... I'm thinking about going for an Arcane Intellect just so we have a Flame Strike next turn. Or the potential for it. So a counterspell on top of this. Then we should be able to probably draw into one of the two Flame Strikes. We have... It would be 2 out of 18, meaning 1 out of 9. That is actually not very likely. We are really in a bad shape. Well, that won't help us. So, okay, so we have to get stuff out of the way here. That one. Just so that he can't draw a card here. And a Spellbender so that if he should buff one of his minions with a spell, then we can do something about it. But we're still going down to 10 or something like that. Yeah. And he doesn't play anything. Of course he doesn't. But this is actually pretty fine. This is pretty good. Then we kill that, then he cannot get through. Awesome. Actually, what about putting in a duplicate in this thing, or Echo of Medivh, so where we can get more of these minions? Would be somewhat of an interesting thing to do. Mainly just because all of these things are fitting the theme, so it doesn't matter that you're actually copying them. Though, I guess I am never having enough cards on the board to actually make it useful in any way. If I counterspell again, would that be good? I mean, these will be 2, 3, 3s. He will have to sack one of them in. Or he has to buff one of them. Either way, I don't see any reason to go for anything. We could polymorph one of them and then remove it. Yeah, okay, that is... Yeah, this should be able to tackle the situation, though I really hate myself for using a polymorph on something that is a 1 mana minion. 2 mana minion, still. Still, the same thing, but I just want to get board control here. One more turn, and get his... Oh. Well, I see his idea here. Go for this, and then hope that, or then just hope that I can. Just hope that I would then sack it in this way, but of course I'm not going to do that. Why should I do that? Also, I just have the counterspell, so should he actually be going for anything? Okay, mind control, the counterspell on that, not the spellbender. Interesting. I think. Shouldn't the Spellbender be doing that? The Spellbender is the one that was played like 2 turns ago. Yeah! Second Priest. Okay, we are slowly going upwards again. Cool. So as long as the next one isn't another Zulok, we are off really fine. But where was I? Yeah, why wasn't the mind control taking the spellbender? Because that was played. That was the oldest secret played. And we played the counter spell, so I gotta have played the the spellbender first, or that one being the oldest. So shouldn't that trigger also first? Should be looking into something like that. I mean, that is why wouldn't that happen? Seems to be somewhat of a feasible hand against the hunter, but we should probably just concede immediately here. Except if he's some very interesting mid-rangey hunter, but of course he isn't. So I'm just going to coin this. I don't see any reason to do anything else here. Coin the Fire Blast and Fairy Dragon next turn. Hopefully be able to kill whatever he plays, should he have something in his hand. If he actually steady shots us now, we are in a really good spot. Okay, Clockwork Gnome. Well, we can still just kill everything he has. We are not going to be able to play anything ourselves, but he is not going to be able to kill us. Which seems to me to be much of a better thing than anything else. Also, Animal Companion this turn would mean a Flame Cannon would kill it immediately. And it would kill 2 out of 3, as long as it's not a freaking Hoffer. Are you kidding me? It's always Hoffer, isn't it? Day 9 was correct, it's always Hoffer. 1 out of 3. And it was that. Of course it was. And... well... okay. Oh. Yeah, sure. Sure, game. I agree. That seems like a logical thing to do. Really, I like it. So, yeah. Spectral Knight probably next turn just to play on curve. Could also go for a Trog, maybe. Depending really on what he plays. Should he play anything with spells? Or not play spells, maybe. Nah. The Spectral Knight is still the best shot, I think. Well, really, you just always want to play as much on curve as possible. These two will probably turn afterwards then. And if we can draw into the Kazan Mystic actually next turn, then that we would be off in a really good spot, because he will probably try and play a secret as fast as possible, just so that he can renew this charge. Durability, whatever you want to call it. I call it charge, don't know why. I've run out of water. Oh. So he got a second weapon, I guess. He doesn't? I'm confused. I mean, he still has 5 mana, so he can still... That seems like the most unuseful thing that is you could ever do. Because I can just kill it. I can just do this and go for a Twark. I have board control. Why would you do that? Yeah, I'm down to 15, but if he cannot apply pressure in any way, then I'm just going to kill him. He cannot play any... okay, yeah, I can. I'll just do that. But why wouldn't he play this one now? That would make sense. Though we're actually going dangerously low, aren't we? Oh jeez, he's actually killing us pretty well. So if this of course, and we of course going to try to kill everything he has. And then go for this one. We should probably counterspell. Just to get the animal, now what is it called? Damn it. I have actually just copied Day 9's name for that. Animal bite. What is it called? It's probably a freezing trap. Or an explosive trap. Either way, we're dead. Except if we get the Kazan Mystic, we're dead. Is this a... yeah, we're so dead. But actually we were pretty close. I mean, if we had the Kazan Mystic, if we have drawn into that one, if we had have gotten in some way board control earlier, then we have been fine. Really, look at this. I have 3 cards in my hand. He has nothing. And I have really big minions on my board. I can kill anything that he should play. It was just 1 or 2 turns too late, as it seems. Just 1 or 2 turns too late. And that says actually quite a lot about this deck. Because this is a gimmick deck. It makes no sense, and it is only supposed to fuck over a control deck. And that it actually was close to be able to actually steady or stabilize on a face hunter seems rather promising, actually. So yeah, I actually like this deck. It is not as gimmicky as something like the Druid or the Rogue Mill or Fatigue decks, but it's still very much interesting. Just because it is so much trying to fuck over your opponent. Which is not something that most decks do. They just try to win. This thing tries just to get you to concede, and it has done, against Priest at least, a very good job at it. So yeah, thank you for watching. See ya!